Winter has fully arrived here in Austria, and temperatures have dropped down to around minus 10 degrees Celsius. For me and for driving my RC boat, that's pretty bad news. Once all the small lakes and ponds freeze over, the number of places where I can actually run a boat drops to a shockingly low level. And even though my RC boat is 2 meters long and has a proper bow, it's definitely not built to break ice. It simply doesn't have the power for that, and more importantly, the hull would probably suffer serious damage under those conditions, as you'll actually see later in this video. It's a pretty cold day today, and the marina in which I usually drive my model boat is frozen up. Almost completely, I'd say 80% frozen up. The harbour, it's called Winter Haven, where I'm at the moment. The whole strength is something I already want to improve on the next build, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. About 2 weeks ago, I tried to take the boat out on my own. The boat weighs around 35 kilograms without any ballast, so moving it is already a challenge. I managed to load it onto my transport sled, Trawler in German, but when I arrived at the lake, I realized I had forgotten to bring watertight shoes. So 2 weeks later, today, I invited my friend Alex to come along with me. The plan was to drive the boat in a part of the winter harbor here in Linz, Austria, that wasn't frozen yet. Well, during the night, temperatures dropped to minus 12 degrees, so yes, you guessed it, the area was almost completely frozen over. Getting the boat into the water is not exactly an easy process. From start to finish, it takes about 15 minutes before everything is ready to go. I use 2 5-kilogram weights that go right into the bow of the boat. I usually place them in once the boat is already in the water, so I don't have to carry that extra weight while launching. And then, of course, Alex managed to step into the water and soak one of his shoes.
Hast du andere Schuhe auch noch mit?
Nein, leider.
Ich schau mal, was im Auto habe.
Once the boat is floating, I install the battery and activate the ballast water pump. The ballast tank holds about 40 liters of water, and it takes roughly 10 minutes to fill up completely. And after that, I close the hatch and the boat is finally ready to run. The hatch or wheelhouse is connected to the hull using 3 aviation connectors. These power systems like the working radar, navigation and courtesy lights, and also the crane. The crane itself has 2 functions, lifting via rope and rotation, both controlled by 2 servos. If you'd like to see a more detailed breakdown of how all of this was built, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make a dedicated video about the technical details of the boat. Once the boat is in the water, you might notice that it lists slightly. Sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. I do need to correct that manually, and honestly, I'm not fully satisfied with how it floats yet. And the reason is simple. The real full-size vessel has extremely heavy weights in the keel, probably several tons. Obviously, I can't replicate that exactly at this scale, because then my model would be impossible to lift out of the water. Instead, I use ballast tanks. But water is much less dense than iron or lead, so the sense of gravity ends up higher than I'd like. This causes the boat to roll and list more than expected, and even a small amount of weight placed incorrectly on deck makes a noticeable difference. So yes, in the footage you'll probably see the boat leaning from side to side. I hope you don't mind. This is still very much a learning process. About 2 minutes into the run, something unexpected happened. One of the 3 motor cables between the brushless motor and the ESC simply failed. The connector burned up and basically disappeared. I noticed a very distinct smell, and suddenly the motor stopped completely. Thankfully, I still had rudder control. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to avoid crashing into the rocks. The impact cracked the forward part of the hull. At the time, I didn't notice the damage, so I just kept driving as if nothing had happened. I only discovered it at the very end of the day, and yes, that definitely needs to be repaired. Otherwise, the hull won't stay fully watertight. For my next build, a Viking 50C at a scale of 1:8, I will definitely be building a much sturdier hull. This boat has already survived quite a few crashes. The keel itself is extremely strong, but once you move away from it, the hull structure becomes noticeably weaker, and that's exactly where the damage occurred. As for the burnt connector, I temporarily fixed it so I could continue filming for you guys. To this day, I'm not entirely sure why it failed. It was the original connector that came with the motor and ESC, and I'm only running the throttle at about 65% since full power really isn't necessary. I will not go out on the Danube here with the boat in this condition. Let's connect them temporarily. I do have throttle. Cooling is also in place. Both the ESC and the motor are water cooled, although the cables themselves are not. Despite all of that, it was a still beautiful day on the water. I got to test the boat, learn a few new things, and of course that means another session in the workshop, fixing paint, repairing damage, and improving a few details. And the next project is already lined up. The Viking 50C build is coming, and I'm really excited to get started on it. If you want to see more RC boat content, consider subscribing the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.